taking whatever it is, a loan, like a project, right? Or like our CRM or some process, looking at how it exists, understanding how it's used, what its purpose is supposed to be, and then reconfiguring it to make it better, more efficient. I think that's my special talent.
Is that why you ask so many fucking questions?
Yeah, because how can I know, right? If like most of the time, most situations, projects, whatever, like it's easy to understand the output, right? Like you know what you're trying to get. But all this shit in between where everybody does everything differently, you gotta figure out like why you're doing it this way. Well, why wouldn't you do it this way? What happens if you do it that way, right?
What does grind mean?
I think depending on how you want to interact with people and how you want to reach out to them and get your name out there is different. But if I was going to sum it up, it would be about availability and presence, right? Where are you showing up? And when people actually try to reach out to you, are you available for them?
Yeah, picking up the phone.
Yep.
I think that the only person that I would listen to would be me.
Oh man, that's interesting.
There's probably zero chance. So like if my 65-year-old self showed up and he was like, hey bro, just so you know, you got to do this, and this. And I had like 30 seconds with the dude, I would fucking take it as gospel because I know it's true. But if Jesus came back and said, hey Fred, you got to do this, and this, I'm like, I don't know. What up? It's Fred Ray, the guy who started Rain City Capital back in 2009 when private lending wasn't exactly the cool kid on the block. Welcome to Good Nuggets, a podcast that's as much about the failures and holy shit moments as it is about the wins. Here's the deal. I watched people go from nearly walking out of the door to becoming absolute powerhouses in this business. We'll get into the weeds with loan officers, talk strategy with fellow lenders, and swap war stories with entrepreneurs who have been there. No fluff, no corporate BS, just authentic conversations and practical takeaways you can actually use. So grab whatever you're drinking, get comfortable, and let's get after some good nuggets. We are here today with Alex Brosy, Sales Director, Rain City Capital. Fuck yeah. He is famously my professional karma, and you will find out why over the next 45 minutes. So Alex, welcome.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing great, man.
Are you sure?
Dream. Yeah, I'm good.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you nervous?
I am nervous.
Why are you nervous?
You
Just fucking, we're just talking here.
Yeah, you freaked me out. You know that. It's been that way.
I shouldn't freak you out.
It's okay. It's gotten better over the years.
That's a good segue. So, how'd you join Rain City? You have a little bit of a sordid past, so I kind of want to meander through that, and I want the story from your perspective, and maybe I'll fill some stuff in. So,
okay.
So tell me how you got here, like when you got here, maybe like what you were doing before. Kind of give a little bit of background about you and who you are.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago, actually. Now, the start of things for me, I was actually working at Bank of America. I was a teller in Everett. And this lady walked in, and she had like the fattest check I'd ever seen. It was like $12,000. And it was made out to her. And for those that don't know Everett, it's not...
12 G's in Everett is like, 50 G's in Bellevue.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. So I had to ask. I was like, what is this about? What do you do? How'd you get this? Why is it made out to you? And she tells me that she's a real estate agent. She helps agents get into the business and blah, 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 blah. So like 30 days later, we had exchanged phone numbers. I got my real estate license. 6 months later, I'd done a couple of transactions, and like I absolutely hated it. It was like really emotion filled, and there's a bunch of like babysitting you got to do with people, and I just didn't want to do it. So I looked online, tried to figure out what to do with a real estate license. At the time, I was probably like 22. I came across Bigger Pockets and found out you could do all kinds of shit in real estate. And I set an alert for Everett because I wanted to be in the industry in Everett. And I got a hit for some company named Caliber, and they were looking for a wholesaler. I had no idea what a wholesaler was. I called them. They're like, yeah, do an interview. I drove to Bellevue. I met with Ian, sat across from Ian. I think he kind of fell in love with me because I had all this stuff about, I want to make Everett better, and I really love Everett. And
altruistic, well, Ian's from Everett, so.
Yeah, Ian's from Everett, so it was like hitting all the strings. But he was like, man, you're too young to wholesale. Like, you have no life experience. Go talk to this guy named Fred. He does money stuff. You can work for him. I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. So I get dressed up in a suit. I come into this office, And the
Was
first
it this
thing,
office?
it was literally this office. And the first thing you said to me, I don't even know if we'd spoken up until that point. I think I probably made the appointment with Darcy. So I had no idea who you were. I didn't know shit about Rain City.
You're like, you probably didn't know research either. You just like
Of course I
showed
didn't.
up in your S10 like, hey, what's up? I'm about to go do some
That's
stuff.
literally exactly what happened. I walked in. The first thing you said to me is, "What the fuck are you wearing?" And I look around this office. There's all this sports memorabilia shit. I was going to a Seahawks game that day. I was like, I got my jersey in the truck, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whatever, just sit down. And within a couple minutes, you had found out that I did absolutely no research, didn't know who you were, what this company did, didn't know what hard money was.
Did I straight tear you apart? Or
You
was
destroyed me. Yeah, absolutely. I left here thinking, wow, I really fucked that up. And I thought it was over with. And then Ian was like, I don't know, maybe a couple days later, hey, take this strength finder test, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get you on board, whatever. I was like, okay, here we fucking go. So I worked for Caliber as the liaison between their investor clients and investor realtors and Rain City. And basically was, I guess, what we would consider now like a production partner for Ian, bringing loans in and Caliber getting paid on it. Did that for like a year. And I think the worst fear of everyone who hires like a production partner is that they say, I want to do this on my own. At which point I came in here again and asked you to hire me. And you're like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. I'm not going to take you from Ian. I barely know you, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, Andy would ask so many questions.
Oh, yeah. I was
everything all the time.
All the time. Yeah, super annoying all the time. I still am. I feel like it gets me really far, though. So I left. I did some traditional mortgages with Bank of America. Went back to Bank of America. I did all kinds of shit in between. It was like a year and a half that I was away from Rain City. Stayed close with Jeff. Jeff was like, come back, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, Fred hates my guts. He was like, no, you're good. And then, I don't know, 6 months later, October 2020, I officially came back to Rain City.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Or making history. Still happening.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so October 2020 until now, time of Rain City. That's almost, wow. Good Lord. Tell me about the journey so far.
Yeah, so, coming back, I feel like it was, one of the riding a bike experiences, right? Because I had already learned the systems, the programs.
Know what's going
on. It was cool to come back and have, a lot of the ssame faces here. Process was pretty much still the same. I basically just did the same stuff. I'm a dial for dollars guy. I mean, that's what I believe in. Hit the phones. You got to know your shit. So when people are trying to work with you, you actually do what you say you're going to do. But just being available and trying to push the envelope with Rain City and with underwriting and trying to get deals funded, especially stuff that maybe we don't really want to fund, but we've got a good reason to do so. I did some social media stuff, some events, just trying to make sure I could get myself out there. But I think...
And then you promptly stopped doing them.
Yeah, absolutely. Once I realized that I didn't need to do it to keep the business that I had going. I'm trying to do more. That is, like, specifically social media is one of the things that's high on my list to start doing again. I've seen a lot of loan officers have a ton of success with it when they stay on top of it, you know. But yeah, man, the journey has just been a grind. It's been the same thing the whole time. You try to stay in front of people, make sure you know your shit, fight for the good deals, get away from the bad ones, try not to get fired.
But so, I mean, it's not just been that, right? Like you're a loan officer for a while, just a straight loan officer. You got your production up to a point where you're like, hey, like I'm good for an assistant. So, got you an assistant. You went through the shit with them, and now it's awesome. And you're also a sales director now. So how many people do you have on your team?
6.
Nice. So like your progression over the last 4 years isn't just like, hey, I'm grinding and funding loans.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, inside of Rain City, I feel like, just exactly like you said, that focus that got me to the production level where I could get an assistant is kind of what opened the door for all the other stuff, like RCU, being a sales director. It was definitely an interesting experience bringing on an assistant, but I like to break shit apart and put it back together. So like, it was messy because there's a human element that I'm really bad at. Like, just kind of like fucking do it this way. I don't care. But
so you got to be a little bit of a better coach over time.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm still a hard ass and I'm really blunt, but I also feel like I take that extra second or two to make sure that I'm not being like a super dick, you know?
You're like a dick with a heart.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, basically the grind part to me, it is kind of all the same, right? It's just what is it that you're focused on? You're doing the initial grind focused on trying to close loans. You get to a point, then you can get some help. Then the grind is the delegation, the mentoring, the coaching to make sure that I can look away from that part of the business, which to your point, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Now I don't, maybe 10% of my time actually has to deal with paperwork and the actual loan. Now with the sales director, the grind is, again, more of that mentoring and coaching, trying to get the folks on the team to just do that extra step, that extra little piece of pre-underwriting, of critical thinking, of, you know, relationship, whatever, to make sure that they don't need my intervention so that I can, again, switch focus to something else, right?
Yeah.
It was the same thing with RCU. Like, initially, the grind is piece it all together, make it make sense, put it somewhere that people can access it even if they're not a part of the initial training. Now a lot of that is there. That grind piece is over. I can focus on just when it's live, give them the resources, and be able to go back to focusing on whatever the next thing is.
Everything else. Mm-hmm. So if you do come to Rain City and you are able and get blessed to be here, the first face you're gonna see, well, at least like within like a week or two, is this guy. He's the RCU guy. He's the one that everybody sees in the beginning, and everybody fucking loves you. By the way,
I think so.
Like, I swear to God, the most kudos I get is for RCU, and like I have nothing to do with it. I've never even fucking attended it.
Bro,
like,
you're welcome.
I know. Like we were talking about this yesterday. I was like, I've actually never been there before, but everyone else has kind of been through it. So like you're kind of the not necessarily de facto, but you're like the face of Rain City a little bit. When people come in, like they're graced with your presence, and people are like, "Man, he's fucking awesome." Then they're like, they talk to him outside of the RCU, where his like sales thing is on. He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah, especially you get to like a sales retreat or a company party, and we're getting turned up. It's yeah, you get a little bit of a different Alex.
Slightly different Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking back, hindsight's always 2020. What advice would you give to October 2020 Alex coming in, sitting there in your chair today?
Man, I think probably the biggest piece of advice I would give myself is to always make sure you keep grinding. Like my quarterly review, so we do a quarterly review with your direct report, right? Your one-on-one. I always give myself a plus minus for get shit done, because I just feel like I even know within myself, like, you could do more, go do more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff's always trying to give me grace, like, oh, you're doing a bunch of shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck that. I could do more stuff, bro. I could do more. So yeah, if I could go back and tell 2020 Alex that, and actually have 2020 Alex listen, because that's probably the biggest issue.
Well, that's, it's funny. I was thinking about that. So I think that the only person that I would listen to would be me.
Oh man, that's interesting.
There's probably zero chance. So like if my 65-year-old self showed up and he was like, "Hey bro, just so you know, you got to do this, 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 and this," and I had like 30 seconds with the dude, I would fucking take it as gospel, because I know it's true. But if Jesus came back and said, "Hey Fred, you got to do this, this, and this," I'd be like, I don't know.
That is a good point, though, because theoretically, you in the future did the thing, right?
Yeah.
Or did.
Well, I fucked that up. So here's what you need to change.
Yeah.
And you'd have theoretically enough time to be able to sift through it and be like, these are the 4 things that you would need to go and do. So I don't know. I think that your past self would probably listen to you, but most likely not anybody else.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Yeah. Or I would give myself the advice to fucking listen to other people.
Yeah, and then you might actually do that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm gonna remind you of a conversation we had.
Oh God.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
it wasn't that long after after you joined. We don't necessarily need to go into details, but you basically asked me for something, and I was like, go to work.
Yeah.
That's always going to stick in my mind just because it's been brought up so much. And like, I feel like you were deflated, but also, and you're like, fuck you, Fred. But you're also like, okay, now I need to, like, all my options are out and this is what I need to go and do. Was that as impactful for you as it was for me?
That's a great question. What impact did it give me? So, I mean, back to the listen to other people thing. I think what it did do for me is it probably was kind of the catalyst to where I think our relationship is now, right? And over the years, we've had a lot of different conversations about who we are to each other. And I think that was probably the very first time where I was like, okay, this isn't just some guy who owns some company who's got a bunch of money, right? This is a guy who's actually like trying to pour into me, trying to make me a better me, trying to help me get to the next level, right? In terms of like, put your head down, work, blah, blah, blah. To your point, I don't fucking listen to anybody, right? So it's like, was it super impactful? Probably not in the same way, but impactful in the way for me to start to believe that our relationship was different than what I had it in my head.
Got it. So it was like basically like a little bit more of a trust thing.
Yeah, sure.
Than anything else. That's fair. I mean, it could have gone either way, right? If I had that conversation with you and it went sideways, I'm like, oh, fuck, that didn't go so well, and I might have rethought it, but it didn't, right? Like, looking here, hindsight being 2020, I'm glad I had that conversation. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have changed it either way. I would have had the same conversation, but it was like, no, go this. I'm like, put that number on your fucking wall and go and get it. Yep. And I remember I held that shit to you. I was like, show it to me right now. I still do that shit to you.
It was in that office.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4. Yeah, I was like, what is that? I was like, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Just he knows what it is. That's all that matters.
Yep.
That's funny. So, what do you think your impact to Rain City's been?
Oh man, culture and coaching. I think it's those two things. I mean, the coaching part's easy, right? Doing RCU, it's like you said, that's the kind of the entry for at least salespeople. But I honestly think of myself as a culture police here, man. And I know I push the line for sure, but I feel that I keep the door wide enough that everybody can still feel comfortable to do whatever they're comfortable with, right? I would say it's those two things.
You're the culture police?
Police is probably not the right word.
Like, how are you the culture police?
I'm more of like the culture fucking atom bomb and just come in somewhere and say some dumb shit and try to get everybody to laugh and be like, oh God, okay, I guess we can say that here.
Sometimes it's a little too far.
Oh, I would say most of the time it's too far. As I said, I keep the door wide open.
Okay, but too far is not okay.
I'm like we take a chair and you stick it under the door and keep it open. That's me. I'm the chair.
Goodness gracious. I would say that your impact is more than that. Like, you bullshit with everybody else and everybody likes you. And like, a lot of people look up to you now, which I think is kind of a funny thing for you, right? Because you having like distrust for your boss and distrust for the company and whatnot. And like, I've listened to you over time, like you built that trust and now you're in a position of like, people look up to you, you know the answers and you know how to explain it to them. You also tell them to fuck off every once in a while. I think it's definitely more than just that. And I don't necessarily like want to put words in your mouth or like, put feelings out there, but we have some strong like people that like drive the culture. And yeah, you kick the door open, but you're also, the real and lasting mutual success. I think you really do have that in mind pretty much all the time. And I've definitely always appreciated that. It hasn't always been that way, but as it's, as you've kind of come along and like let a lot of the shit go, which probably not even, it's not our shit, it's, it's your stuff. But once you kind of let that go and started to grow as a person, I remember it was like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I had a conversation with you. I was like, I just fucking wish I could snap my fingers and make you 35 years old.
Actually, that was a year and a month ago.
It was like a year and a month ago?
The day after Valentine's Day last year.
Was it really?
Yep.
Fuck. It seems like forever ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dang, that's wild. All right, Alex, random question for you.
Oh God.
What's your secret talent?
Ooh. I think my secret talent is breaking stuff apart and put it back together.
Elaborate.
So maybe even breaking apart's not the right way to say it, but taking whatever it is, a loan, like a project, right? Or like our CRM or some process, looking at how it exists, understanding how it's used, what its purpose is supposed to be, and then reconfiguring it to make it better, more efficient, specifically. I think that's my special talent.
Is that why you ask so many fucking questions?
Yeah, because how can I know, right? If like most of the time, most situations, projects, whatever, like it's easy to understand the output, right? Like you know what you're trying to get, but all this shit in between, where everybody does everything differently, you got to figure out like why you're doing it this way. Well, why wouldn't you do it this way? What happens if you do it that way, right? And you could break it apart, look at it, and then say, well, shit, if this is where you're trying to go, just fucking do it like this. And cut off all this other, fat, trim all that, and now you have this process that's more efficient to get the same output.
That's your hidden talent?
What do they call
Secret
it in
talent?
the big leap? In the big leap, isn't it your secret talent, your hidden talent?
Oh,
Or is
you're a
your zone of
genius. You're genius zone.
Yeah. And that for me is, I think that's exactly where it is. It's like, some loan officers. There's one specific you could probably guess. It's always pressing me. Do you even like to do loans anymore? Blah 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 blah. All you do now is all this training and IT stuff. Blah 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 blah. Like, no, of course I love doing loans, but it's that piece, right? Talking to a borrower like about the project, how they're going to get it done, who they're talking to, where are they looking, because I know what the output is, right? I mean, it's math, really. Output's math. Like, we need to hit X ARV. Here's our total cost. Like, that part is super fun for me.
Got it. It's being an advisor, but using your talent to be an advisor to your clients and to the people and really kind of everybody around Rain City, right? Nice. So what would you say to a loan officer coming in the business that's like, I'm trying to get in. What advice would you give them today? Because obviously, like, the business is evolving a lot. What advice would you give a new person coming in that wants to go and crush it?
Probably know your shit, at least enough to not, when you're talking to somebody, right?
Yeah, or at least make it up on the fly.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. Let me find out. That's a great question. That's like my classic line when someone stumps me. That's a great question. Let me get back to you. I want to make sure I give you the right answer, So know your shit. Know your shit enough, too, that you can actually do what you say you're going to do. I think a lot of new loan officers get caught up in that because they get confident enough that they'll go talk about it, but they're actually not solid enough to do the thing that they think they're doing. Whether it's down payment or fee or a location or project, whatever, right? So basically, being able to do what you say, and then fucking grind.
Yeah, follow through with your promise. What does grind mean?
I think depending on how you want to interact with people and how you want to reach out to them and get your name out there is different. But if I was going to sum it up, it would be about availability and presence, right? Where are you showing up? And when people actually try to reach out to you, are you available for them?
Yeah, picking up the phone.
Yep.
I remember there's one loan officer. I was like, this guy doesn't fucking sleep. Like, when his phone rings, he always answers it. It's the craziest shit ever. I'd always test him at like 11 p.m. with someone else's phone. I'd fucking call him, and dude, pick up the phone. I'm like, you have issues, okay? Like, there's like such thing as boundaries, man. Like, turn that fucking thing off. It's like, dude, that's wild.
But see, it doesn't even have to be the phone either, right? We got loan officers that crush on social media.
Yeah.
And you could be laying in bed talking about deals on Facebook or Insta or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like, however you feel like you can be present and be available, just do that. And that's the grind. That's the grind piece for me.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was never a great salesperson. So like, for me, because I'm not a great salesperson, I'm not the hit the phones guy. I'm the relationship one. So like, once people know me, kind of like actually shit, like edification, right? So like, once people know me, they trust me, and I know that I'm not gonna like fuck them over 100% of the time they come back because they know I'm not gonna screw around with them.
Yep.
Tell them the shitty deal or whatever, right? So I'd always go and find the people that I know could give me a deal.
Yep.
And then I would try to build a relationship as much as I could. So yeah, I mean, that was my version of grind. It wasn't talking to the actual borrowers. It was talking to the people that would give me a warm referral.
Yep.
And the people that give me a warm referral, like, and the referral partners love me because I didn't drop the ball. But I think it's a little bit different for everybody. But finding that grind too, finding the things that you're good at and hitting that, and versus not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget. Like, I used to originate loans. That's how Rain City became.
Yeah,
like in the very beginning.
To old ladies and.
I think that's the last loan I closed, and she was like 72 years old. It was like a $20,000 loan.
Yeah.
And I have not lived that one down.
Nope.
ever.
You never will. No, you never will. Especially as we get bigger, because less and less people are going to actually remember that you're an originator. But the story of your last loan is, what was her name? It was like Betty or something.
Like, right? I think it was Elma.
Yeah, exactly. That's another reason too. Is like, could you have a more old timey name?
Oh man.
Sorry to all the Elmas out there.
She's like 19 listening to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Wanted to get in the game. She's like, shit.
Yeah. But hey, if you're an Elma, Fred will give you a loan.
But I'm Fred, and I'm like supposed to be like an 85-year-old past banker dead in a nursing home right now.
That is also an old timey name.
Maybe that's why she liked me.
It could be.
She probably thought I was old.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably a great point.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I got to work with Fred. My uncle's name was Fred.
I trust him. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. I got a couple more questions for you, but I'm gonna give it to you. You got one question to ask. What are you gonna ask me?
Oh, dude, I could go for my classic.
You're like we call him the asshole because he asks so many questions.
The classic.
The very first like inappropriate question you asked me. You're like, hey, how's it going? What's your net worth?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who you are.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But the thing is, like, this is why you're my professional karma, because I used to ask the same dumb questions all the time, and because I just didn't have a filter, I didn't know what was appropriate and what wasn't.
I do feel like I ask less dumb questions. I'd still ask a shit ton of questions. I can't. My mom brought me up to do exactly that. Just keep asking why.
I gotta meet Mama Brosy one of these days.
Oh yeah, for sure. But definitely, I want to know the answer to that question, but I want to ask that one. Actually, I mean, my question's like super self-serving.
You got one. You take it.
And this is, I guess, totally open for interpretation. But where do you see Alex in 5 or 10 years?
That's a great question. I wonder. I mean, I would push it back and like ask you, because I feel like I need more information to answer that question. Do I have permission to ask more?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, you've kind of given me a little bit of like, okay, I like to pull things apart and put it back together. Do you see yourself originating loans for forever?
No, I don't. No.
Do you feel like you get better impact or better job fulfillment from coaching loan officers or being in front of like RCU?
That's a great question. I'm, only a quarter into being a sales director, so I've
still new.
Yeah, a lot more time with RCU. I would say that as of right now, I probably would say I get more fulfillment out of RCU because it's it's kind of an intimate process. Like, we spend a lot of time together in that first week. They're asking a lot of questions. They're really new. So there's a bunch of opportunity for me to pour into them, which I really enjoy. Like half the loan officers on my team are fairly senior, right? Like they kind of know what they're doing. And most of the time I'm just kind of helping them move stuff through. The couple of loan officers on my team who are newer, I do enjoy spending that time with them, but there's a lot more weight into that relationship, which I think I'm maybe just still a little bit gun shy on, right? It's different when they're brand new. There's the possibilities are endless, mm-hmm. right? After you've been here for 6 months, a year, based on where you're at and what your production's doing and how you spend your day, it gets a little bit heavy about like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? So I think I'm still getting used to that part. So I would say, sitting here right now, I feel like I get more fulfillment out of Rain City University. I could see in the future having more time being a sales director, enjoying that piece more. Because it does excite me, to grow them, whether that's just to an assistant or getting their own production partner, becoming a sales director on their own. I mean, that seems pretty dope, right? Like that's
Yeah, get to build like a legacy tree of
yeah,
people that have come in and like, hey, like, oh, I grew that one up, or I grew that one up,
uh-huh.
and all of a sudden, like, and they like bowing down to you, even if they're like way up here and you're still down here.
Exactly. Like that part is dope. So I could see that being much more impactful in the future. Right now, I would have to give it to RCU though.
Got it. So if you're going to, what your hope is that being the sales leader is going to be like it'll fill your cup more than doing RCU.
Yes, that is my hope. That's where I'm hoping things go.
Got it. I mean, the sky is the limit. Obviously, Rain City is a growing company. I think as you mature and get older, and you let like some of the past stuff go, that like I don't necessarily like have like the future path, because you're a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. You're kind of like me, right? It's like you can kind of jump into any conversation and have a real one, and if you don't know the answer to it, you can like, okay, let me go back and I'll figure it out. And it doesn't take you that long to go and figure it out. So there's like, I could like shove you over here, shove you over there, and all of a sudden you're gonna thrive. Maybe not in every scenario, but in most, you at least you're gonna figure it out and make it better. So from that perspective, like I don't know, as a company that's growing, and like we're investing a bunch in like AI, which I'm gonna consult the shit out of you and be like, hey, how do we use this? And I'm gonna give you just tools and go and fucking use them, and all of a sudden like people will be using it internally, and there'll be a great amount of leverage there. So I don't know, there's a lot of shit for you, but I think it's really up to you. It's up to you and what you want to put into it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit for you. You just got to get rid of so when there's the line, that it's there. When you go over that line, like that's the part you got to get rid of.
Yeah.
And like that's indicative of everywhere around.
Yeah. And so I will say that part's really tough for me because, and this actually is a reason why I've never tried to go into management in a company where I was growing, because I'm me all the time, right? You might get a little bit of a different version depending on what I'm doing, right? I mean, I think that's a huge part of being a salesperson, is the kind of the
Being a
ability
bit of
to
a
be
chameleon.
a chameleon. Yep. But ultimately, I'm always going to be Alex. And then when people have watched that happen over the years, and now I'm in charge of some shit, it's almost like an expectation to cross the line, right? And if I don't, then people are like, Alex, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Are you okay? It's like, oh, I'm just, trying not to be a fucking idiot.
I was in this office. I've been in this office for like a decade,
Yeah.
actually more than a decade. Fuck, man, I'm getting old. Anyway, I was in this office and I just got like killed that day. I'd said too many things. I shared too much stuff, and I was always like the open book. And I just got lambasted for it. There's one day where I was just like, there's 3 people that are like, what the fuck are you saying? You can't say that. What the fuck are you saying? You can't say that. And I was like, okay, being me is not working. I got to figure something else out. And I think that was probably like 8 years ago, like 7, 8 years ago. When someone on your team is like, hey, that was inappropriate, I don't like that. Or someone around you gives you feedback where like, that was poor. You're going to be like, fuck. I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like, we're 100 people now.
Mm-hmm.
100 people is just different.
Yep.
And it's not different in a bad way. It's different in like, not everybody has been here for 6, 7, 8 years. Not everybody has the relationships. Like, people think we're being mean to each other when we're actually just love each other and having fucking fun, right? But coming in, that it's difficult, and it's also a very unique culture, and that we are very candid with each other, which I think is fantastic in so many ways.
Yep.
Like, dude, Jordan blew me up like, I don't know, 35 minutes ago. I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. It's like, thank you very much, I appreciate that. But it's jarring for people. And if you've worked anywhere else, I mean, you worked at Bank of America, you walk in here, you're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? These people are nuts, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, but to your point,
so it's gonna come.
The people who like it, because I didn't feel that way, right? I was like, oh my God, this is like
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people it resonates. And you're like, yeah. And then one of my like prideful moments. I probably shouldn't be as prideful about this, but we had 3 people in a year show up and they were gone within a week.
Yep.
They were like they're in and then they're out. Like we warn them about the culture and then they come in and they're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff is usually the one who is telling me that, hey, you shouldn't have done that. But usually for me, it's not like inappropriateness, it's assholeness. You've told me that.
Yeah.
That to me is the thing that's my bigger focus, than the inappropriateness.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a lot harder to come back from a bad, inappropriate, or being an asshole to somebody than it is from telling a dirty joke.
I got a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, exactly. So like trying to focus on that piece, I'm almost there. I had something even just happen just the other day, and I was like, I probably should have just not sent that one email and talked to somebody else and let them take care of it for me. So I'm getting there. I'm getting closer, but it's hard. I'm passionate, bro.
Yeah, it's we've all been there.
Yep.
I am a decade older than you, and I've had people, looking back at me for a long time, and it's not always when you get the mirror shown in front of you over and over again. Sometimes like your flaws rear its ugly head, and you're like, oh gosh.
Yep.
So yeah, to answer your question, it's up to you. I think you know that too, but where you want to take it and where you want to go. I think it's honestly like, if your genius zone is pulling things apart and making it better or more efficient, it may not be the people. But
Right.
If you find that you're a fulfillment and you can kind of like mix and match in both of those ways, and somehow, and I have no idea what that is, like working in your genius zone. I mean, that's what you should be doing.
Yep.
Like my biggest advice to anybody coming in is always be yourself.
Yep.
And focus on what you're good at, and focus on how you're good at those things. Like if I tried to hit the phones and made 100 phone calls every day, I mean, I'd be fine. I'd probably do okay. I took a couple of leads the other day. That was kind of fun.
What, were you on a call or were you just like...
Yeah, I called 2 people.
No, I mean like, were you with other loan officers?
I did it on the power hour.
Oh, but you didn't unmute.
No, everybody listened to it. I called one of Carlo's old leads.
No shit.
Yeah,
Who the fuck
I
was
called some leads. Dude, I don't know. I think he bounced out. But I called 2 leads. Like, take some leads. And Carlo was like, I'll give you some.
Oh,
I took some leads, and they're like, oh, shit. Actually, I was helping Rachel.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So she like unmuted, and she just took no for an answer so fast. I was like, ooh, hold on a second. He was like, I'm retiring. And I was like, hold on a second. Like, if he's retiring, he's probably giving it to his kids.
Yep.
And if anything, ask for the other referral. She's like, oh, yeah, good feedback. Like,
I think you should do that more often, bro. You should jump into power at least like once a quarter and take some phone calls. We should just sit there and watch you make phone calls.
That's kind of funny. I mean, I haven't done it in forever, but
Yeah,
it's actually
great.
kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
like, I haven't done this for years. Bro.
Yeah, and then imagine you're like, what if you got a fucking loan? Like, that'd be crazy.
Just start outproducing people.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Like I was always like a solid $3 million a month producer.
That's exactly
like,
where I'm at.
I was never like the Lisa, Ryan, and Julians of the world where they're just absolutely crushing it.
And then I think the mindset is different too, right? Just like you said, if you're not working in your genius, it's not fun. And it's like, I'm gonna do enough to get some clout, pay some bills, grow, but for the most part, like, I'm not gonna work my fucking ass off and skip out on vacations and whatever to be the top dog.
Yeah, for sure. Work-life balance is important.
Yep.
So just for everybody, we're talking about a book called The Big Leap. I don't remember the author's name.
Me either.
I don't remember, but it's a great book. It's a short
Great
read. And anybody going into like any sort of coaching or anything like that, just read it. It's one of those things you're like, oh shit, okay.
That book hit me hard.
It's a lot about like self-talk and figuring stuff out and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay, so question for you. We've been doing the coaching for
8 months.
Yeah, 8 months now.
Yeah.
What's been your experience? And if you're taking stuff apart, putting it back together, what feedback would you give me?
Oh. So my experience, I will say, and I hate to say this, I'm hopeful for what we're working on next, right? I'm excited for that. I think initially it was massively impactful. It was like, doing the vision boards and coming up with the big, hairy, audacious goals and, holding each other accountable and talking about where we're at in life. Yeah, it was felt very, growth was just happening on every call, right? Whether it's because the group's gotten larger or because we've maybe altered the focus of the group or whatever have you, it feels like I spend more time in the call helping grow other people, which I think based on what happened at the sales retreat last year, I think that that's kind of part of the growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but in terms of its impact, while I love that piece, there was times where we just were really helping out only a couple people.
Yeah. Well, and I wasn't attending those things too, right?
Sure.
So that was the catalyst.
Yep. So I think it super impactful at the start. I think it maybe lost some focus and the weight of the call was reduced for me based on what we talked about this week and what we talked about last week and what we're going to be doing over the next couple months. I'm super excited for that because that's right in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I would say that what it's done for me is continue this idea or this want to break stuff apart and put it back together better, whether it's my life or my job or just Rain City, pieces of Rain City that I have my hands in. So that's been really fun and really helpful. I guess my feedback to you, I think there's a couple things. I think the size of the group has added to my feelings about the group, right? So obviously opinion based.
Camaraderie. And I like the smallest of it, which I actually have plans for that.
Nice. So yeah, the size, I felt like it was perfect. And I feel like we, so that would be one of them. And then the other one would just be, it's kind of a mix, but it's all centered around you, right? Do what you can to be at all of them. I know, because we were bringing other people in, you had to spend that time away.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're there, I would say, even though I love to say you're bad at this, try to get more organized. Because I feel
I'm feeling pretty freaking organized,
really?
more than
Okay,
I have
good.
been before.
Definitely from before, yeah, absolutely. But that would be it. More time with you, because that was the impetus of the whole call from the beginning, right? Was we wanted to spend more time with you. And with Ian and with Jeff, we love you guys.
They already know. You don't have to fucking name drop it. Come on.
So yeah, more time with you, and then when we have you and we're doing it, to have it go the way according to a schedule, which is hard at Rain City. We love to fuck around.
Yeah. Well, we have the 3 Fs.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes of fucking around
Yeah.
all the time. Thank you. I appreciate it. There's anybody who hasn't coached or hasn't been coached, go and do it. It's money well spent, even if it's in a group. And even if it's $500 and the coach is half-assed, it's still great. You're gonna get something out of it no matter what. I'm a half-assed coach, but I have been coached for a while, and it's super fun. It's fun to watch people. You probably wouldn't have gone to Arizona and been in your house for 4 or 5 months without doing that. And I was looking for you to say that because I was like, this motherfucker, he probably wouldn't have done that. He would have kept renting it out and saved some money, but it's part of your goal to be a what's it called, a bluebird.
Bluebird.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. I think I know your answer to this because I think it's pretty consistent. If you give me something different, I'm still okay with it, but I have to ask the question anyway. What's your favorite thing about Rain City?
My favorite thing about Rain City, it's got to be the culture, bro. It's got to be. Pipeline meeting is a meeting I look forward to every day.
Is it people or the culture? Wow. It's kind of like one on the one, right?
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like they're the same, right? Because if the people don't make the culture, then the culture doesn't exist, and the culture helps us decide who the people need to be, right? So they basically, they're one and the same.
Mm-hmm. That's why people come and go really quick.
Exactly.
It hasn't happened nearly as much lately, but
well, and not to say that the culture is going way. But when we do get bigger, there is, I feel like, less opportunity for people to see what the culture is really like.
Yeah, that's why we get together.
Yep.
And that's what like my job is to have it be watered down as little as possible as the layers come on. That's what I think about. Like the thing I think about when I go to bed at night, and thing I think about when I wake up in the morning after my gratitude is well, lately, what if fucking Trump fuck up today, and then outside of that, how do I keep the culture like going when I like further down the line? So like if there's there's the leadership team, and then we have managers, and then the managers might have managers, and like I'm just like, how does down the waterfall of everybody around here, how do we make it as close as possible? Like that's why I'm doing the Jordan call it yappy time, because everybody was freaked out about it. But that's why I'm talking.
Yeah, where's mine?
I'm talking to everybody. I talk to you all the time.
Come on, bro.
No, we don't need to do that.
We have a good time.
I'm talking to you right now. You got like an hour.
Yeah,
and
I like talking to you. It's fun.
I thought I freaked you out.
You do freak me out. That's why I like it. You got to get out of your comfort zone, right?
Oh shit. But yeah, that's why I'm just trying to get as close to it as I can, and it's not sustainable, especially if I have like 500 people, whatever. But I'm trying to find out ways. I'm trying to figure out ways to do that every single day. But it's really, honestly, it's up to everybody else. Yeah. It's up to everybody to be the culture police, not just like 1 or 2 or 5. And the benefit of like when we went to COVID, we had a really tight knit group, right? And we had all these OGs. Like our average tenure is still like 5+ years, even though we have like almost 100% more people, which means there's a lot of people that are tenured, but there's also a lot of people that they're new. Having that culture going into COVID really like helped us thrive during that time, where a lot of companies just kind of like dissipated and fell apart. But all those OGs, they are that culture, right? They are setting that tone, and empowering everybody to go and do that, I think is my first step. And obviously not my only one, but my first step in just saying, hey, like you're it.
Yep.
You gotta go and do it. And for me, like being obsessed with the salespeople.
Yep.
Like salespeople that are out there, salespeople are an extension of Rain City, and it's like in the most purest form. So yeah, real and not seeing mutual success, baby.
I mean, I think that you hit the nail on the head. It's like it's the salespeople.
Salespeople, they can. Usually they're the gregarious, outgoing, like want to like get shit done. But I think it's actually more impactful for the people like Lori that have known me for like 20 some years.
Sure.
Or Val, Lisa, the people that are living in the ops, because we kind of, salespeople are somewhat separated and kind of live off their own, right? So they're great stewards, outgoing, but internally is where like that's where the magic happens.
That is a good point. I didn't even think about that, especially now. I mean, I don't get to talk to ops people very often.
I know. You had that as a source of pride the other day.
Yeah.
And,
which it is, but I mean, from the culture perspective, which is why I also love when we have parties, because hanging out with all those people that you mentioned and about shit ton of the people that you didn't, like those people, they make Rain City super dope.
I know, I can't. They're so in for it too.
Yeah.
Our Rain City's karaoke game is tight.
Literally top notch.
It's
the best.
Tight.
Challenge any other lender to a karaoke party. You guys will be.
Yeah, we'll fuck them up.
Crushed.
Dude, I've seen Alex go up there, and he used to karaoke at home, just like by yourself or with Steph, right?
Yep.
And he was like, who was it? I think it was Austin. He was like, he just bombed. He went up and grabbed the fucking microphone. You didn't even look at the words. He was like, blah, 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 on the Eminem. I was like, how the fuck does he know this stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
hopefully Austin's gonna redeem himself. We're gonna do a little something special tomorrow.
Oh, you guys are?
Yeah. Hopefully, I got lineup duets every time. Every time. You got to.
I bombed on you once. I was trying to get Katie to do it, but
yep, it was Regulators.
Yeah.
And Patrick came up to me afterwards, and he was like, fucking grabbing my shoulders. If you want to do Regulators right, do it with me. And he was fucking wasted. I'm like, you got it, Pat. Just let me go now.
Oh, fuck. All right, man. We beat this horse dead. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
For like 3 hours, bullshitting, saying some dumb stuff. You guys missed like the first, 30 minutes of us in these chairs, testing out these microphones, saying some dumb stuff. So anyway, I love you, Alex.
Love
Thank
you,
you.
buddy. Appreciate you,
You're the
sir.
man. Thanks for doing this. I'm sure it won't be the last time.
Oh, fine. Yeah, I hope not.
Good nuggets. Peace out, motherfuckers.